Hello. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again today for another live Q&A session. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I'm a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you that are just getting started out in this wonderful world of wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business. And I answer your questions in these weekly live Q&A sessions. If you're not new here, then you know that every week we have a poll. And side note, you might be wondering why I have headphones on. I never do. But I do have a guest with me today who's going to help me co-host for today. I don't know if he's really like a guest, but he's a friend of mine. He's in my VO workshop, my platinum workshop on my website, and a really great guy. And I'm very thankful for his friendship and his advice. He's got a great perspective on this and is doing very well in the voiceover business in a very short period of time. And so I'm going to bring him in really quick, and then we'll review the poll together. So I want everybody to welcome Eric Priessman.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning. As I bang something on my desk in noise.
It's okay. I do it all the time. I'm usually knocking stuff over. It's kind of par for the course. All right. So I don't know. Should we introduce you, talk about you a little bit, or should we go right into the poll?
Let's go into the poll first.
Good God, we're both froggy.
Yeah.
Life of the VO artist. Okay, so today's poll is, do you have acting experience? Or did you have acting experience before you got into voiceover? And so far, it looks like we have about 27 votes. And 78% of you said no. Only 22% of you said yes.
Okay.
And I think that is sort of the point of today's question and having Eric on, and then we are proof that you don't need acting experience to be in this business. Because as if you've been here for any length of time, then you know that I've had construction experience, fast food experience in the very early days, and then automotive experience. The only thing close to acting that I've done, and before I got into voiceover, was stagecraft in high school. What about you, Eric? What's your background?
I certainly nothing about acting. I'm retired last year from law enforcement, a 21-year career in law enforcement. And before that, 8.5 years in the military. So nothing that would have lent to a career in voiceover. Nothing at all.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of voice actors that have been stage actors that have transitioned over to voiceover, but I think the vast majority of us, of the people that I know, I should say, don't have any acting experience. And you not only learn a lot by doing this, but I do have to say that training is some sort of coaching, mentorship, something is going to be important just to help you kind of find the right money voice and tone and maybe the technical aspect of voiceover, but
right. You could have the natural a voice for it. Okay, you can have an actual voice for it, but then you have to get trained the talent of how to use that voice.
Yep.
That's the one half of it, and the other half is the whole technical side, which we see a lot of people saying, I need help on how do I do this and how do I do this. So the technical side can be very intimidating.
Yeah, for sure. And I even have to say that I have a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey, everybody says, oh, you have the best voice, yet you should do voiceover. And then they say, okay, well, great. I want to do voiceover. How do I get into it? And then once they start to do the research, they see that there's there's a huge learning curve.
Yeah.
But I think once you have all of that down, I find that a lot of us get into the mindset of, I need to be this narrator. I have to be the narrator. So they put on their narrator voice. As soon as you hit record on your DAW, you have to be this voice actor,
Yes.
announcer guy. And I think with coaching, mentorship, training of some sort, you're never going to know that you're even doing that unless you have someone tell you that you're doing that. Because I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know I was doing it. But the most important thing I think for me in discovering is that you just have to be you. Use your own experiences, your own perspectives, your own life experience and job experience even.
Right.
Everything you have gone through in your life has molded you into this person with this mind and this perspective. So use that in your voiceover and just be you. You don't have to be narrator voice.
Well,
So
when we meet on Thursdays with our group, what's one of the biggest things that we've started repeating to our people is when they get into that narrator voice, say stop, 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 stop. Now reread that paragraph or reread that passage and talk to me. Tell me the
yeah,
story as if we just passed each other on the side. Hey, how you doing? Let
yeah.
me tell you about what happened. Talk to me. Don't narrate to me.
Hmm.
Talk to me.
Yeah.
And that's
Don't
what
read the
people
words.
don't read the words.
Just
Don't
tell me the story.
you're not epic movie guy.
Yeah.
Just talk. Tell me the story. That's the thing that people have to learn. You have to learn how to do that. You
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Not just that, but you might have some other bad habit that you develop and
Mm-hmm.
you don't know you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're so accustomed to listening to you've spoken the same way all of your life. You
Yeah.
don't and then if you add a little bit of that narrator announcer guy voice in there, then you might develop some bad habits that are going to be hard to undo unless you have someone else working you through this,
Then you're
right?
going to be in your kitchen asking your significant other to please pass me the milk. No, don't narrate the milk. Just hand me the milk.
You sound like Batman. I'm Batman.
Don't get me started.
Pass me the salt. I'm Batman.
me the salt.
I'm Batman. All right, let's hop on over to the comments. Let's see who's here today. Thank you again, everybody, for spending a little bit of time with us today. We're going to have some fun. Eric is a hoot. So we're going to have some fun today. Let's start out with the Mr. Wildfire. So sorry I will miss your live. Oh, I'm sorry. Have to be on the road, but I did want to say thank you for all of your hard work and effort you put into your videos. I've been finding them very helpful. Thank you. That is awesome that you at least stopped by and said, hey, sorry, I can't, hang
Yeah.
around, but
Yeah.
that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. If you're still here, thank you for stopping by. And then James is here. Good morning, James. Good morning from the heart of the Canadian prairie. Prairie. Why do I want to add a re at the end of that? I know. I guess just feels like it should. I'm a goofball. It's okay. Good. Okay. John Popovich says, good morning, Angela and everyone. I want to share how excited I am because things are going so well with my voiceover business. And I just started a podcast. That's awesome. Thank you to our wonderful VO community. Hold on. You guys know what I'm going to do. Hold on. Wait for it. Congratulations.
I have not seen that before. That's new.
I've only used it a couple times. I'm still figuring out what I can do.
Isn't technology wonderful?
I know.
And of all these tricks, of all the stuff that's in front of us in our booth, that's probably one of the coolest things you have. Just that little button.
Congratulations.
Spent $500 on this microphone. Yeah, but have you seen what this button does?
Buttons, man. I'm telling you, the more buttons it has, the happier it makes me. Okay. And then James continues on. To answer your question, I've been involved in community theater for the last decade or so. And I was an extra in a few films and TV shows. Not sure that last bit counts, though. I think it does.
Sure.
Absolutely, it does. Community theater and being in films and TV shows? Absolutely.
Why
Because
wouldn't it?
because at least you learned, I'm sure you picked up some tips, right? Just
Emoting at least or something.
yeah. And being behind the scenes, you're learning some lingo and some just overhearing. unless I'm thinking of it like in a Hollywood sense, are you actually hearing all of the direction being given? I'm sure you are. I mean, to the other like main characters,
Okay,
or the
so
actors all.
I can speak a little bit. On the highway patrol, I worked a lot of details on movie sets, TV sets, and stuff like that. And so, yeah, unless the director, like pulls the principals aside or something, which technically they don't, or typically they don't do a lot, they're going to hear everything that the director's telling Julia Roberts and
Right.
all these people what
Right.
to do and stuff like that. But even as an extra, even if you're the extra that's in the background not saying anything but pretending you're talking, you're still emoting, you're still using your face
Yeah.
and things like that. And we've talked about that
Yeah.
before. Is that again, you've heard your own voice speak for your whole life, and what you think is coming across as emotion in your own head doesn't. So you emote in our
Yeah.
booths here. We're emoting, and that translates to your voice. It translates to the words. So yeah, even as an
Yeah.
extra, you're learning things that you can use.
Yeah. So I think those are absolutely beneficial. Those absolutely count as acting experience.
Faux show.
Faux show, though. Robert is here. Good morning, Robert. Good morning from Tejas. The weather has finally broken, leaving the door open to enjoy the great weather. Yeah, I was
Nice.
just right before the intro started. Eric had asked me about the forecast here in sunny Phoenix. Right now it is 78 degrees, and the high is supposed to be 90 degrees.
Ooh, I'm going to beat you today. We're supposed to be about 94, 95 in
Really?
SoCal. Yeah.
We had this weird storm come through. It came in, and there was even a tornado in northern Arizona yesterday.
Tornado.
And it touched ground, and it ruined like 10 houses, I think. Crazy weather, man.
That's rare.
Yeah. Crazy. But I think that might have something to do with the weather, because I think yesterday it was supposed to be just under 100. But I'll take 90.
Yeah.
Might have to get my sweater out pretty soon.
Anything that says 2 digits instead of 3 is better.
Absolutely.
That's so sad.
I know. All right. And then Marla's here. Good morning. Hello
Morning.
from Texas. Morning. Doug is here. Started from scratch. You started from scratch.
What do you mean by that? Let us know.
Do you mean with zero experience at all in anything? Would you kindly elaborate, Doug? I'd like to make sure that I understand your comment. Thank you, Doug. Is it 3 Bood Anadi? I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Hi there, from Jordan. Jordan. Hi, Jordan.
Like around halfway around the world, Jordan? Wow.
From Jordan or from Jordan? Your name is Jordan.
Right.
Anyway, and I'm so sorry if we're idiots. Thank you for joining today. We appreciate you. All things serious, news, and Christianity. Wally here from North Georgia. Good morning, Wally. Thank you for being here. Angela Thomas says, hi, Angela. Hi, Angela. So very good to see you. I love it when Angelas bond and join together. Angelas unite.
Feedback loop.
Ashley's here. Good morning, Ashley. Hey, Angela. Good morning. Michael V. Good morning, Angela. Connecticut is cold and rainy and miserable today. Hope AZ is nicer. It's nicer. What's wrong with me today? Need more coffee. Cold and rainy and miserable. Like,
oh, I'd take that.
I would.
Some gray weather would be awesome. Windows open, wet grass. I would love that.
Oh, wet grass smell. There's nothing better than that. We're living vicariously through you, Michael. 3 Bood Anadi says, I'm Arabic, VO. Can I hear you one simple and give me feedback about my sound quality? I think you mean, can you play a sample? If I actually encourage people to share demos and samples in my Facebook group, if you join my Facebook group, the VO Workshop, I think it's important, just like what we were talking about earlier, to have other people listen to you, because you've heard yourself talk in your own head all your life. So you don't really realize what you're what you're doing outside of your head. If you've been trying to record VO all on your own, you may be developing some bad habits and falling into rhythms instead of giving true, emphasis or intonation, or you end up sounding like you're just reading the words instead of telling me the story. So you don't really know what you sound like until you let someone else hear you, right? And maybe point out that you're doing these things, and then at that point you can acknowledge and improve, or work to undo the bad habits before they become too ingrained to easily fix, right? So I encourage you to join a Facebook group, if not mine, that allows you to play demos for people to get feedback. Absolutely. All right. I think really quick, let's hop back on over to the poll. I just want to see where we're at with that, because I'm very curious in how many people actually have acting backgrounds. So again, today's poll was, did you have acting experience before you got into VO? Any kind of acting experience, anything at all? And right now we have 39 votes, and 23% of you said yes, and 77% said no. I
It's
don't
about
think I'm not really surprised by that. Are you, Eric?
that's about 8 or 9 people that said yes. So I don't know if I should be surprised or not. To be honest, I had no metric to go by. You know what I mean? I don't know. I have no idea how many people have dipped their toe in front of a camera
Yeah.
or stage. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess just if you were to throw a dart at a board, I guess 20-something%. Sure. 1 out of
Well,
4.
I asked that because and I know you've been in Facebook groups and
Mhm.
in the VO industry for a little while now, and just meeting other VO artists and hearing about their backgrounds. You know, some of
Some
them say there's a good chunk that say they've come from stage acting.
I was
And
just gonna say yes.
there's another good chunk that say they come from the radio business. I've
Mhm.
had a handful of former DJs reach out to me and want to get into VO. But I'd say the vast majority of people are just like you and I, from
Mhm.
non-acting backgrounds, just wanting to follow our dreams and do something different and be our own boss and do something creative instead of
Yeah.
pulling people over on the highway and giving them
Hey.
tickets.
Hey now. Hey, ooh.
You.
Yeah, I'm surprised, or have been surprised on various pages on Facebook and stuff like that, of how many people want to get into VO that are legit actors, DJs, like really deep into the industry. Not that audiobook narration and other VO stuff isn't deep, but you know what I mean? What we're talking about,
Mhm.
like true, they've already been a professional for 5, 10, 15 years. And this is just another facet that they want to
Yeah.
get into. So that part's always been interesting. I'm like, I guess wrongly, maybe I would have thought that it would have been easy for them to do something like that. Why would they come to people like us to find out how to do it? I don't know if that's making any sense.
I think what I hear most often from former DJs when they reach out to me is undoing the announcer voice.
Okay, I get that. We talk a
That's
lot
what I
about
hear
the
most
after.
often. Yeah.
Okay,
Is
okay.
undoing that DJ voice.
It was a
Because
dark and stormy night. No.
yeah, because most of them want to get into audiobooks.
Hmm.
And you definitely would not be able to, I don't think, maybe even sustain that kind of voice through an entire audiobook, nor would it be really kind to the listener's ear to
No,
have that kind of narration done, like you
it would
said,
be
on a
difficult.
dark and stormy night.
Yeah,
I can't even do a DJ voice. That's just beyond me, but
we all have our talents.
but that's what I hear most often, and
Yeah,
I can totally understand that.
yeah.
And I actually work with a few in working on their narration. But being in this industry for about 4.5 years now, and then doing the coaching and mentoring that I do, and all of the people that I've met in doing that,
Hmm.
there are people from, I mean, any kind of background that you can think of that want. I've worked with a lawyer who wanted to do this on the side. Of course, the VO thing had to be completely on the down low, because they were trying to get through the bar and all this stuff. They couldn't have
Okay.
social media. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So when we think about roadblocks, even as a side note, in getting into VO, there's some people that just won't let anything stop them either. They want to, this
Right.
is what they want to do. This is their dream. They want to do it. But I mean, no matter where they're coming from, you can do VO and use your
Sure.
own experiences and, like I said, perspectives to make this work. It's just a matter of, oh, and that brings up, I think I've said this before, but I heard someone say, a voice artist say, it doesn't matter how much experience you have with voiceover, you just have to sound good. You just have to deliver the intent that is
Right.
in the copy or the manuscript that you're reading. You
Right.
just have to
Right.
sound good. It doesn't matter if you've done 0 audiobooks or 0 commercials or
Well,
0 anything. It could be your very first attempt at voiceover. As long as you
sure.
sound good.
Sure. One, that can be taught. And
Yeah.
2, everybody started somewhere. I mean, no one
Right.
was born reading an audiobook. You know what I mean? So
Right.
you know,
Well,
yeah, we
I
all
was.
started. Right. No,
No.
we've all, but that's the thing that can be taught, you
Yeah.
know. So, you have to have the persistence, which we talk about a lot because I read a lot online about how, I was just read a post today on somewhere on Facebook on one of the pages, someone, they're afraid that they've heard, they've submitted 5 or 10 auditions and heard nothing, which they expected because they're brand spanking new. Yet they get discouraged because they've read other things about how someone has submitted hundreds and nothing's happened. And it's
Yep.
like, and they ask the question to the internet, am I wasting my time? That's not a fair question, because you might just be waiting for lightning to strike. I mean, it's one's going to hit and boom, you're off and running. And you can't, how many times have we said you can't judge your VO journey necessarily against somebody else's,
Right. Right.
it,
And then piggybacking off of that, if this person that submitted 100 auditions and received no responses at all, it could be something that you're not hearing. It might not be your voice. It could be your recording space.
mhm,
If you have a slight echo that maybe you don't hear,
right.
that could be what is, not, you're not winning you jobs. So that's another reason why it's important to let other people hear it. Other people maybe with a voice over ear and the other
Mhm,
people that don't, and see if they can hear a difference. And when I say with an ear and who don't have an ear, I mean voice actors who have developed an ear for plosives, mouth noise, echo, all of the things
right.
that we look for,
Right.
and then play it again for someone else that maybe, I guess everybody is going to be a little bit biased, right? They're going to say, "Oh
Yes.
no, it's
Well,
fine."
not only everybody, but I find that a lot of times in the VO community, we get, in my opinion, a little bit positively biased.
Oh yeah.
We oftentimes, oh, hey, that was really good, when maybe it kind of wasn't. So that's, multiple opinions matter also, not
Right.
just
Right.
one. You need to get, you maybe need to get someone who's not afraid to pull a punch and go, no, here's your problem,
Yeah.
XYZ,
Here's what you need to do, or here's what you
yeah,
need to fix. But it
yeah.
could be something as simple as just a little bit of reverb in your room.
It could be technical. It could be your own voice.
Yeah.
You need to
Yeah.
change. It could be a lot of things, but I think a lot of times, yeah, there's a positivity bias that tends to happen.
Very well said, Eric. I really liked your response. That was so great. Is that positivity bias?
I was gonna say, do I detect smarmy? There's a little bit of
Schmarmy,
sarcasm there.
schmarmy. All right. Oh,
Hey,
holy
how about those
Moses.
comments?
Hey, hey, look at Louie. Louie just sent me a super chat
Lue,
straight out
lue.
of the studio. Well, technically, I'm still in the studio, but thank you, Louie. Louie, I appreciate you. You are awesome. I'm hoping to get Louie on one day, because I think he would be a hoot. Oh my goodness, where did we leave off? We've got, thank you again for that, Louie. I appreciate you. I think we left off here at Kara. Hey,
Yes,
Kara. Morning. Morning. Good morning. Rebecca stinks.
that's
Makes me laugh
unfortunate.
every time Rebecca stinks. Hi, Angela. Can I ask how long it takes for you to record and edit an audiobook? Oh boy, that really depends on how long or how big the book is. but I'm pretty much down to my process is down to one. My ratio is about 1.5 to 1 to 1, meaning every finished hour takes me about an hour to an hour and a half. And that took a long time to get to that point. I think in the very beginning, it took me maybe 5 hours to get a finished hour done. And when I say that, I mean in 5 hours, that encompasses the narration, the editing, the mastering, the formatting, all of the stuff that goes into one finished hour of audiobook narration. But now I've got it pretty streamlined, so I get through them pretty quick. But it really just depends if it's, maybe a book of 10,000 words, one finished hour. I can usually have that done in a matter of a couple of hours, maybe with a break in the middle. But it really just depends on the length of the book. What about you, Eric? What's your audiobook ratio?
I was actually sitting here trying to think. I've never paid attention. I've never said, okay, well, it took me an hour to read it, and how long. I've never done it. So just ballpark in my head, probably somewhere around the same. I think we've discussed this before. Maybe I think I might be a little bit quicker. So let's say for a half hour's worth of reading, maybe an hour total to do it all, to read it and then go back, edit it, master it, file it away for whatever. So maybe a 2 to 1, I guess, if that's the right lingo.
That's still pretty good
I
for
mean, I think, yeah.
for what, a year in? No, you're a little over a year now.
Coming up, March is 2 years.
Well, yeah,
March.
okay.
So a year,
Yeah,
no, we're a year and a half. So March is 2 years, and I'm thinking March is around the corner. No, it's still 6 months away.
I'd say that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I think it almost 2 years in for me, it was still taking me maybe a 3 to 1. But
Yeah.
then that was before I discovered mouth declick.
And presets and things. Well, you probably, yeah.
I had presets. I had a rack. I had all of that stuff.
Mhm.
But mouth declick and isotope
Yeah.
changed my world.
Yeah,
sure.
you read a lot of stuff on the pages and stuff of people going through manually, and even in our group, I think we have people that are going through and manually taking
Yeah.
out every little thing. And it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
they make macros that boom, do this all for you with a click of a button.
Yeah.
So there's the other part of that learning curve, is learning how to do that. Once you learn how to do that, then the world gets easier.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Rebecca, if you're looking into possibly maybe figuring out what to audition for, because you're trying to figure out, time frames, let us know what you're looking at, and we'll let you know roughly how much time it might take you. Like, for instance, if you're looking at to maybe audition for a book that's 30,000 words, we can tell you that's probably going to take you, what, 8, 9, 10 hours, maybe, depending on how quick your process is.
Mm-hmm.
So just to give you a rough idea, but usually I'll ask a client for about a month just to get these things done, regardless of how big it is. I mean, up to maybe 80,000 words, maybe even 90,000 words, maybe even a month and a half if it was 90,000 words. But I try to give myself the time that I need. And that was something that Eric and I were talking about before we got on here. Excuse me, is being transparent with your clients, knowing how much time you need, frog, and asking for it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. That's better than having to push yourself into possibly producing something that would be subpar because you don't have the time, and then you take shortcuts, right? So
Yeah.
give yourself ample time to get these things done. It's worth taking the time to make a very, a great end result, and everybody's happy. You're happy with it. The client's happy with it. So
Mm-hmm.
ask for the time that you need, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Lutz is here. What is your image? What is that little?
It's a carrot. It's a man in a carrot suit. Can't you
That's
tell?
cute. Hi, Angela. Scotty from Philly area here. Question: will a bad demo hurt me? I'm otherwise all ready to start. I've got a good product now, but I'm scared that my demo was a ripoff. Wait to start.
Hmm.
I'm sorry you feel that way. That really stinks. But There's nothing wrong with making your own demo.
I guess
think
that was my question. Does he mean he feels like his demo was a rip-off, meaning he recorded something, gave it to somebody else to put together as a demo, and he feels that part was the rip-off?
Hmm.
Is that
So I guess that's what we need clarification on, Scott. Did you pay someone to do a demo for you, and you feel like it was not a good reflection of what you could do, or just?
right?
But all of that aside, you can make your own. I mean, if you're comfortable with your DAW enough and your effects enough on your own, you can make your own and then replace it as you get better and go along. That's what I did. That's what most of us do, I think. There's nothing wrong with making your own in the beginning
As you get better, you
because
do it again.
yeah, because we know that to have a professional demo made is hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, depending on what you're doing. And there's nothing wrong with having a professional demo done. I've never had one yet because I'm just, I don't like to spend money. That's just me. But I think at some point I'm going to need it. But I think the other point that with having a professional demo done, someone else recording you, mixing you, producing it for you, when you give that demo to a client, good gosh, I'm sorry. That client is going to expect you to sound that way. That client is going to expect that quality that your demo is reflecting. So if you can't reproduce that kind of quality on your own, that could also be a problem. So that is another reason why I always say in the beginning, there's nothing wrong with making your own demo because it's going to accurately reflect your current
Skill set.
capabilities. Yeah, your capabilities in your performance and in how well you can apply your effects and what your sound quality is going to be. And then at some point down the line, when you're more confident, then you go have that professional demo done if it's going to sound the same as what you can produce, right? But just with a little extra flair and mixing and, you know, the mixing voodoo that they do, that sounds really good. And the coaching that comes with it, I'm sure. But are you going to have a professional demo done, Eric?
It wasn't on my short list. I mean, probably someday,
Someday. Yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Me too. I think I'm going to have, I was thinking about reaching out to Anne Ganguza and having her help me through a e-learning demo. I think I'm going to do that.
We've heard some, in my opinion, some really good demos in our group. People have played, and I'm like, wow, that was impressive.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think they did them themselves.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can
Scott,
make
it's
your own.
completely possible. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
another
I
thing.
would not wait to start, Scott.
No.
Start yesterday.
And that's another thing just to touch on, Scott, before we move on, was that a lot of new people get caught up in, oh, well, I have to do everything professionally or have everything professionally done. And it's, no, you don't. This type of VO stuff is quite possible to do as a one-man stop. I mean, you do it all. You can do it. It's possible.
Mm-hmm.
So don't feel that you have to have a professional demo to get started or anything like that. So
yeah, Lord knows I didn't.
Yeah.
Everything was DIY for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Kara, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Michael V says, good morning, Eric.
Good morning, Michael V.
Good morning. Ashley's here. Hello, Ashley. What are your tips and tricks for combating stuffy nose and scratchy throat, aka the frog? I'm dealing with some gnarly allergies. Yeah, me too, apparently. I'm extra froggy today, and it's really getting annoying. I've seen a lot of people use hot water or tea with lemon, honey. I've seen a lot of social media posts of voice actors using like a personal nebulizer. Have you seen those?
I have not. Like
It's
in
like
their
little,
in their booth?
yeah, it's like hand size. It's like a little canister and a little like oxygen mask looking thing. and it goes over your nose, and it just basically it's like a humidifier.
Right. Did you
And they'll
use
just
just,
keep it.
I'm froggy, so I use it for 30 seconds and then go back kind of thing?
I guess it sort of just kind of moistens and I'm not sure, but I'm
Huh.
tempted to get one.
Well, Ashley, one of the
It
things we've meant, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if it helps me get rid of this darn frog, I'd
Right.
really be happy with that.
Well, whether you have allergies, a froggy voice, or you're going to come across rumbly tummies as your stomach saying you're hungry, sometimes the only solution is to get up and walk away for an hour,
Yeah.
2 hours, come back. Your body is just not going. It's not going to cooperate.
Yeah.
So sometimes literally change of scenery, fresh air. Outside your booth, go do something else. Change of your body position. Sometimes you're just going to have to go away and come back, in my opinion.
Stuffy nose and scratchy throat. Also, I mean, allergy pills. Not
But
to.
even those, I'm sorry, I was thinking something else.
I'm trying to think of, but there's all kinds of like throat pastilles. There's lots of homeopathic stuff for post-nasal drip that you can find on Amazon. I mean, there's all kinds of different approaches. Oh, there's even saline sprays. I've got all kinds of. You guys should see the inside of my
The
studio.
medicine cabinet in there.
I've got like a mini pharmacy in here, but and then also for me, I also do the fire cider, which I understand that the brand that I use is going or has gone out of business. So I'm gonna have to find another brand for that. But that really helped too. But yeah, ever since I had COVID, like over 2.5 years ago, it's just like my sinuses and it's just been a mess.
Yeah.
So
I bet.
I hate having the frog. I apologize, guys, but now it's been kind of it's kind of become part of who I am. It's like, oh, there's Angela the frog, VoiceOverAngela frog.
You need a frog Funko to go up with
I
your collection.
do.
Seriously.
I do. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry though, Ashley. That really stinks. But there's a lot of voice actors that'll tell you that there's a lot of different remedies for this. So I just try the normal tea. Tea and honey and lemon usually work for me too to help kind of soothe stuff.
Sure.
But it's definitely not something that's fun. Robert Palmer says, on the survey, I put no. I have to qualify that. I spent years in the military acting like I cared about all the military BS, cared about my job, but all the other stuff wasn't keen on. Okay, Robert. I don't know if that counts, Robert. All things serious, news and Christianity. Wally, the learning curve is substantial. It is.
Mm-hmm.
The learning curve is substantial, but that really goes with anything that you try to do, anything new, especially if you're, dare I say, on in your years. You are learning new tricks.
Sure.
I mean, any learning curve or anything new that you're trying to do is going to be difficult, but especially if you're not really accustomed to technical stuff.
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest part for me, was learning my DAW and understanding the jargon and what the effects did, how much does what, how little does what order things go in. It's a lot. It's a lot for sure. It is.
This is definitely a learn by doing industry.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For sure. James says, lately I've been trying to punch fear in the face. Good. But he's been ducking and weaving, and I haven't been able to hit him. Oh, well, you know what? Put him in a corner. Put him in a corner and punch him. I hear you, though. I know. Just keep swimming. Take a couple deep breaths. Just keep swimming, James. Janeri Rubio says, good morning, Angela. It's Irene. Finally got to see you live. Hey, Irene. Good to have you. Irene she had just joined. No, not just, but she joined our platinum group a while back, but she was in the hospital when she joined, but she has to duck out a little bit. But I'm glad to see you here, Irene. I hope all is well.
Good.
And I'm
Awesome.
glad that you can spend a little bit of time with us today. JCCAOL says, hey, Angeli, happy October. It is October. Happy October. Kelly is here. Kelly Howell says, first time viewer. Good morning. Good morning, Kelly. Thank you for joining us. We're just a couple of VO goofballs having a good time talking about VO and audiobooks. I think it's a prerequisite. I think you have to be a little bit goofy, strange.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, look at our studios.
You can tell a
You've
lot.
got-
You can tell a lot about a video person by their studio.
I always say, live out your teenage fantasies in your studio. Make it like your teenage fantasy bedroom.
This is the room
Have
that I
all the
always wanted
lights,
as a kid.
right? Right? Because adult money is fun. So
Mhm.
you put up all the banners, have all the, the fun chairs and lights
Yeah.
and stuff that you want. Why not? Robert says, are you trying to push my buttons? Stop it, Robert. Consorcio Namada. I'm so sorry if I butchered that. Thanks, Angela, for sharing your experiences in your VO journey. Oh, Leave? Is it Leave or Lev? Leave would have an I, right? Is it Lev Tauber?
Right. Probably Lev.
Sorry,
But
if
we're
I'm butchering
probably
that.
wrong.
I'm not usually right, but thank you for joining us today. I appreciate that. James says, yes, Angela, I was on set and heard everything good. Yeah, that's awesome. I wish I could do that just once. Just be an extra once. That would be a heck of an experience, I think.
Yeah.
Andrew Jepson says, hello, Angela. I'm very green. Just bought a mic and signed up for ACX for a side hustle. Do I need to create an LLC to get paid? No. You do not have to be a business to get paid. You can do it as a individual person. Although if you do decide this is something that you want to do as a career going forward, you will eventually have to pay taxes once you hit, a certain amount of money. And having an LLC or a business is going to be advantageous for taxes and all of that liability coverage and all of that fun stuff. But I would say in the future, if you do decide to make this something you're going to stick with, maybe you should consider becoming an LLC. But you don't have to be a business or an LLC to get started, to get paid. No, you can do it as an individual. I did. I think Eric did too. Oh, I lost Eric. Where did Eric go? No, I lost Eric. Hopefully he'll come back. Kelly Howell says from Central California. Oh, here, Eric's back. Hey, Eric, what happened?
I don't know. My screen. I started getting the wheels of
Wheels
no.
of Doom.
Yeah. The internet god said no.
No. Yeah, he was unkind to me yesterday too. So I'm crossing my fingers that I don't get booted.
Okay.
Yeah, weather's been really, really weird. Wolf Donovan says, hello, I hope all is well. I have a theater and commercial background. Oh, cool. Awesome. So is Wolf Donovan your actual name? I have to ask, or is it like a stage name? Because if that's a stage name, that is a cool
Wolf
stage
Donovan.
name. Either way, it's a cool name.
Yes.
Wolf Donovan. It's awesome. Chantal Davies. I have a clarifying question about the poll. When you say acting experience, do you mean official acting work? Or would you say actively participating in TTRPG playing a character counts? You can, whatever kind of act, I would say poop. Perhaps acting as in theater, commercial. I don't know. What do you think, Eric? I would say either theater or commercial work.
Acting as anything not you.
In a personal, like if you're doing like a D&D kind of a, I don't know.
Well, I would say for the purposes of the poll, I mean, you need an audience. So if I act like a rock star in the shower while I'm singing, that doesn't count. You know what I mean?
Anything outside your home, maybe,
right.
perhaps?
Yeah. Acting where there's an audience, where you're doing it for an audience.
Yeah. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, Chantal. We're weirdos. Masonry Construction says acting, no storytelling. Yes. Acting, no. Storytelling, yes.
A fine line.
It is. It is a fine
Very
line
fine
between
line.
acting and storytelling, for sure. Yeah. Marla says, I have acting experience, commercials, and extra work. I have taken voiceover classes and love it, but the technology stuff is challenging.
Indeed.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Where is Kirk?
No kidding.
We need Kirk in here.
He's
Indeed.
acting on stage, most likely.
Probably. I think he did have a show coming up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Louis says, start your first voiceover gig with Angela's help. Oh, yeah. He's talking about if you have a Fiverr profile and you have some Fiverr gigs set up, and maybe you're not getting any traction, you're not getting any the impressions that you think you should, or the clicks or the orders. I have a gig review service. So for $50, I believe is what it's set at, $50, you send me your gigs or your username, and I will record myself as a video, 20, 30 minutes, and give you pointers on what you should change, perhaps. I review all of your gigs to give you some feedback on what I think is going to work and things that maybe I see that we need to change or add or delete. So this is what Louis is talking about. Thank you, Louis. Masonry Construction says, voiceover is great for those of us who can't memorize lines, but love working with the script. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's great. You have a squeaky chair. Does it make noise when you record?
No, because I don't usually move like that. My back
just sit
hurts.
Absolutely still?
No, if anything's moving, it's this, or it's my trusty clicker.
Oh, you have a green one. Mine is red.
No, that's the finger part is green. The rest of it's purple.
Oh. Fancy.
Okay, so next time I guess I got to put some WD-40 somewhere down here.
Yeah. All right. So Angela says, so I haven't submitted any auditions yet. I watched a video from ACX that they don't like when people put that they are just starting out, yada, yada, and to put experience. Yeah, I wouldn't ever say, hey, this is my first attempt or a brand new, or I wouldn't put any of that information into any of your bios or descriptions. Just you list the experience that you have. If you've been on LibriVox, and this is what I did when I was recording for LibriVox, which is where you donate or volunteer your time to narrate a chapter or a book in its entirety, books in the public domain. You can list those as, the experience in the experience box or titles read or anything like that, or just leave it blank for now, but anywhere that you are listing yourself in a profile would not put in that you're new or just starting out, or I wouldn't do any of that. What are your thoughts, Eric?
I would not feel confident if my surgeon walked in and said, hey, you're my first patient ever.
Yeah. Good point. It's a great analogy.
But hey, hire me anyway, because I've got a swell personality.
Yeah. My hands are very steady, but we'll see how it goes.
I washed them today, just a minute ago, so we're good to go.
Oh my gosh. James says, one thing an acting background gives you is experience with auditions and learning that just because you weren't chosen for a gig doesn't mean you're a bad VO, just that you're not right for that job. Perfectly
Boom.
said, James.
I love it.
Perfectly said, James. That's right. So if you have submitted 10, 20 auditions, it doesn't necessarily, and not win any of them, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's you. You just didn't cross paths with the client looking for your voice.
Correct. Absolutely.
It's a numbers game. The more you submit, the more opportunities there are for that crossing to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that you stink or you can't do it or do it well. If you're just not the voice they were thinking in their head for this particular project, no big deal, and move on, submit more auditions.
Yep.
But if you want to be absolutely sure, just to check again, like we said earlier, about your background, your audio quality, have someone else listen to it, someone that's familiar with voiceover, just to see if they hear anything that could be fixed. because that could also be a factor, but more often than not, it's just not, you weren't that voice.
What do you think about asking the person you sent the audition to for feedback?
I
Would you
never
recommend
have.
that or not? Okay.
I never have, but you could, because it could offer you some great information. Although, I don't know, they may or may not even answer you.
Correct. Right,
I
right,
guess you
right.
could try. I
Well,
don't know. I think
you're going to get an
mm,
answer that either says nothing was wrong. You just, that's not what my characters, envisioned in my head, which is okay. That's fine. You could
right.
get an answer of something technical, like we talked about earlier today. There's something I heard in your background. Your chair kept squeaking.
Oh, yeah.
It could be something you go, oh, I didn't even hear that. So you could walk away
Yeah.
with nothing. You might walk away. I just didn't know your opinion about that. I've never done it either, but just curious.
Yeah, that's a great point. But I guess my cynical brain is thinking that someone may take the opportunity just to just be mean. But you really can't think that way, I guess.
Well, if
But
they wanted to be mean, they could have been mean in the original denial
yeah,
also.
that's true. That's true. Ashley says, have you listened to The Name of the Wind, narrated by Nick Podal? Is it Podal? He is one of the most captivating narrators I have ever listened to and is a huge inspiration for me. I highly recommend. Oh, I'm writing that down. The Name of the Wind and Nick Podal. Nick, Podeh. Thank you for that, Ashley. I'm going to check that out. I have a credit. Nope, I have 2 credits on Audible. I'm going to go check that out. Louis says, guess we're podcasting live today. Sort of. Are we podcasting live today? Just co-hosting, I guess. I don't know. Is it? No. Rebecca stinks. Always makes me laugh. Thank you for answering.
Split second of my brain went, that was rude. Oh, no, it's her name. Never mind. Okay.
I do the same thing as soon as I see it. I go, oh, that's her name. It's okay. Just say it.
I have to say it.
Thank you for answering my audiobook question. Follow-up. Do you listen to the whole audiobook you record before you send it? I do not.
Mm-mm.
I do not. I listen through the file once after I record it and apply my effects to listen to adjust pauses and room tone, to remove mistakes, any errant, mouth clicks that weren't removed in the process. That's about it. I only give it the one listen through. But my
Yeah.
process is exactly the same for each file. So I know that the volume's going to be consistent, the quality in terms of effects and all that stuff is going to sound consistent. My mic placement doesn't really change. My seating position doesn't really change. So I know in my head, everything is going to sound consistent. So I don't need to listen through the entire thing again. Just the once.
Agreed. Pretty
Same
much
with you,
same
Eric?
thing. Yeah. I listen to vast tracks of it as I'm editing and post-producing, but once I get to the end of that file, and it's all done, that's it. I don't go back and listen to the whole thing. I actually did that on some of my first couple books until I learned a better process. Yeah, I listened to the entire thing. Granted, those were luckily for me only like 2 and 3 hour books. They weren't super long, but yeah, I was listening to the whole thing and manually editing and manually removing this and manually removing that.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, mouth clicks mostly, or nose farts, or whatever else just kind of pops up. You're just manually removing that stuff, but just that one time.
Well, and then once you get more proficient at it, you'll learn to see those things in your audio file versus having to listen to them. You'll see something, oh, that's not supposed to be there. You didn't have to listen to it to find it. You just go, oh, that's a bunch of sibilants right there, or something like that.
Yeah. You start to see words in your spectral display, which is just so weird to me.
You're really good at it. I still question, but I mean, no, you talk about that, and I'm like, it looks like
you don't see the patterns. Oh,
no,
I do. I see them.
In your
JCCAOL
sleep.
says, in my sleep, yeah. I says, I noticed your guest likes Star Trek. Has he done any work in Klingden?
Kling.
Klingen.
What? Whoa.
Hang on.
Klingon.
That's better. I know there was a course available in Duolingo. Great show, guys. Hey, can you learn Klingon?
Klingon? Yes. So Star Trek 3, there was an actor who played a Klingon. His name's Mark Okrand. And he created the few lines of dialogue for his part in the movie. And then after that, yes, you can go buy the Klingon dictionary and you can learn Klingon and you can speak fluent Klingon to another person who has learned fluent Klingon. Yes, it's an actual air quotes language. Yeah.
I think now that I think about it, I think someone here on one of these lives had mentioned that they were learning High Valerian. And I was like,
the guy who created High Valerian, he's an actual linguist. I don't remember what Mark's background was.
Right.
The guy who he's an actual linguist. And if you've ever watched any of his videos, it's fascinating how he
created Dothraki too.
Yeah, the Dothraki videos are more, to me, it's a more interesting sounding language. Yeah. But yeah, those are some amazing, because they're, for lack of a better word, authentic. I mean, he's an actual linguist and he created a language with like why these, not just, he just didn't make sounds. Why this word has these phonemes and it's a root word of this. It's amazing. So short answer, yes, you can learn Klingon.
I wonder, I'm going to play it in my sleep and learn High Valerian or probably Dothraki. I think I would like to learn Dothraki.
Dothraki is cool sounding.
It is. Ralph says, good morning, Eric and Angela and Angelinas or Angelinos. Another question that comes to mind is how many more are a musician or singing background?
Interesting.
Oh, that's a good point. Because I know a lot of those too that were either a musician or a singer or both that get into voiceover. That's a great point.
Indeed.
Louie, I was hoping you'd say that because you came to mind too. I'm up for going live with you in the near future. Sounds like a plan. Yep. Sounds like a plan to me too. I did talk to Allie. I'm going to have Allie on too.
Mm-hmm.
And Allie is another person in our platinum group. And I was having her on specifically because she is doing very well with spicy books.
We haven't talked about that. Okay.
She does very well with spicy books. So we were going to have her on so she could answer some questions because I've only done it for a small period of time years ago, but she's currently actively doing very well with them. So look for that in the future too, guys. That'll be a good one. Angela Thomas says, so I got Adobe Audition and I feel overwhelmed. How do I set up a rack and keep the settings? Feeling stuck on stupid. You are not stupid. These are new things that you're learning that you're not expected to know, out of the womb. So these are all things that we learn as we go along. But I think I have a couple videos here on my channel that address creating a rack and saving it in your presets in Adobe Audition. And that might be just the perfect thing you need. But apart from my own channel, there's quite a few on YouTube, I think, in setting up your rack and saving it as a preset. But don't ever call yourself stupid or feeling like you're stupid because you're not.
No, these are all things that here.
No, you just need to learn them. That's all it is. You're not stupid.
And once you do learn them, you'll be like, oh my God, this is so much better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It's just a learning process. No stupidity. You got this, Angela. We got faith in you. If I can do it and if Eric can do it. I love you, Eric, but you know what I mean? If we can do it, you can do it too. No doubt. Chantal says, as a female, I struggle with audiobooks that require a male voice. I always think I sound weird doing male voices. I have been trying to stick to nonfiction because of it. Any thoughts? And when it comes to characters, it's not so much about pitch. We immediately think females inherently are way up here and males are way down here, when that's not really the case. It's more of just changing your voice slightly to reflect the character's attitude or personality. Maybe they have an accent. Maybe they speak, a little more nasally, or, you could really do a lot with your voice and just changing your face shape too. I mean, there's a lot of ways to change the sound of the voice without having it be all about pitch, right?
So on our Thursday groups, we have addressed this before. So this
Yeah.
is a great plug for, I'm sorry, the other way, for the Thursday group that she hosts. It's backwards. No, wait. This is a great plug. Seriously, on our Thursday groups, we've addressed this. That's a very common question or common
We
problem or
practice it.
whatever. Yeah,
Mhm.
we practice it. And when I say practice, meaning again, we pull up a passage or whatever, and it's got both male and female. And Angela's 1,000% right. You're not looking to, I'm not looking to talk like this. Well, that's a good voice though. But if the character requires this, then that works. But typically for a guy to do a female voice, it's just softer. It's just a little bit changed like this. I don't need to
Mhm.
talk like this to be a woman.
Right.
And Angela doesn't need to talk like this to be a man. Man voice. It's just it's just very small things. But anyway, this is a good entry. If you want to join the Thursday, we do talk about these things.
Mhm.
But don't think that you have to go 150% in a certain direction in order to answer your problem or answer your question. Um, it's a lot easier to do than you think. You might be being too hard on yourself with your male voice. It's probably
Mhm.
not. It's probably not as you might be trying too hard even. So
Yeah. And another thing to keep in mind is when you're creating character voices, regardless of, gender, whatever, is that you have to make sure that this voice is going to be something you can sustain,
hmm
especially if they are a main character, in the
hmm
story, because you don't want to have to get through a chapter and then you need to take 2 days to recover or to heal your, you know what I mean? Whatever voice you do choose for this character, just make sure that it's something that you can, um, I guess, sustain without hurting yourself.
yeah.
But there was something else I was going to say, but it's flown away.
Sorry.
Maybe it'll come back. Maybe it'll come back. But Eric had a question here. Angela says, Eric, what branch of the military were you in? What was your job? Fellow veteran here.
Well, hello, Angela. I'm an 8.5 year U.S. Air Force veteran, and I ended up getting out. I was a TAC-P, a forward air controller. We were the guys that called in airstrikes out on the battlefield. There's a tank, call in the A-10s to come blow it up, that kind of thing. So that's what I did when I got out. Prior to that, I was a computer operator, which was early IT type stuff before the internet was really turned into what it was today. So that's cool. Well, congratulations. Thank you for your service.
Thank you both for your service.
Our pleasure.
Louis says to masonry construction, what was my line again? You guys are funny.
What's my motivation?
Allison, what's my motivation?
You're a
Allison Bennett.
tomato. Sorry.
Tomato.
Just stand there and be a tomato.
I don't even know what kind of facial expression a tomato would make. Probably none. Okay. Okay. My brain's already traveling. Okay. Allison Bennett says, I just finished recording my first LibriVox chapter. I learned so much. Thanks for suggesting that as a place to start. As someone starting out, what should I put on my ACX profile? Just use the LibriVox work that you've done. You don't have to say this is chapter 1 of, just say excerpt from, or, list the title. If you don't have any experience at all, just don't put anything down as your experience unless you. Let me just back up and just clarify that if it's a place like ACX where they're looking for audiobook specific experience, leave it blank if you don't have any. But if it's on a place where you can list prior work experience, like I believe Upwork, list your previous work experience, because everything that you have done, just like we said in the way beginning of this session here today, all of your life experience molds you into who you are and what your current perspectives are. All of that stuff can definitely help. For example, if you were in the medical field for years and years and years, and now you want to narrate medical narration, all of those super hard words that we have to look up how to pronounce when we do medical narration is just going
Yeah.
to be second nature to you. So all of those experiences will definitely help. All the education that you have will definitely help, maybe to determine what kind of a VO niche you go into.
Hmm.
Um, for example, for me, with being in the automotive industry for 20 years, dealership side for 20 years, I learned a lot about sales and sales techniques and a lot of the psychology behind sales. And I can use that with some of the work that I do. Just having the understanding of how it works definitely helps me to understand and interpret a script, you know? So everything that you know, everything that you've been through will definitely help, and use that as experience.
Agreed.
JCC AOL says, when putting together a demo, does it matter if some of your work is on one program like Adobe Audition and some other work on GarageBand? Also, has your guest done any work in regards to cartoons? As far as your demo goes, it doesn't matter where it's made. I think you definitely want to compile them, and um, you want them to all sound pretty much the same audio quality wise, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So if you can apply all the same effects to all of the pieces of the demo, that would be ideal. But if you can't, then you can't. But ultimately, it doesn't matter if I recorded half of the work that I put on my demo on Adobe Audition and the other half from Audacity or GarageBand. It doesn't matter where you record them, as long as they all end up on one file to submit as a compilation to the client. Um, that's my take on it. Thoughts, Eric?
That's a technical. So will they sound the same? Will all the technical aspects sound the same if half is done on Adobe and half is on another? I mean,
There's a
do you
good
get the?
chance it won't, but you never
Yeah.
know. I mean,
Okay. That
if
would be
they
my
have
only concern.
yeah, if they have a naturally great sounding room, they might get
Okay.
lucky and they all sound, you know what I mean? But you could
Yeah.
also add a little bit of music to blend them all
So
together so you don't notice the
you
different
don't
sounds of the
notice.
room.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
mean, ultimately, as long as they all end up on the same
Sure.
audio file, it doesn't really matter where they come from.
Yeah. Okay. That makes
That's
sense.
my thought on it
Makes
anyway.
sense.
But have you done any work on cartoons, Eric?
I have not done cartoons. I have done a couple of voiceover commercials um, for an Australian real estate agent, as a matter of fact, as Batman and as Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump.
So that's the right now that's the limit of my impressions. I have not done any cartoons. I have not auditioned for any cartoons. So, but I'll take the question as good encouragement that maybe I should.
Yeah, I think you should. I think most of what you've done is audiobooks at this point, right?
Yeah, yeah. I just enjoy it. I don't know. I guess to me it's close to acting,
Mhm.
and you get to act a lot of different theoretically a lot of different characters. I guess I don't know why audiobooks you know stick to me better, but I'm open to all of it. I've
Mhm.
done meditations, I've done commercials. Yeah, so
Yeah, you might end up being a lot like me in terms of maybe gravitating towards the longer form
hmm
narration versus the shorter
yeah.
stuff. Um, but yeah, I think you would be great in cartoons. Could be
Thank
Batman.
y'all.
Louis
That one's
Louis
taken.
to at Jerry Rubio, glad to have you join us. Welcome to the live stream. Yes, Louis. Shout out to John Popovich in the house. Yes, Louis on fire.
No kidding.
Chantel Davies, VO is an art of mystery. For instance, Bart Simpson is voiced by a woman. Yes.
Yes.
And there are, I can't think of her name, but there's another VO artist that does several male characters in cartoons that we are all
Is that
familiar with.
EG? Is that EG Daily? She used
Um,
Pickles in the Rugrats and a bunch of other things.
I can't
I'm
think of
sure
her
there's I'm
name.
sure there's several.
Yeah, for sure. Michael V says, Robert, we should remind everyone to push Angela's like button. Yes,
Yes.
push my buttons. Everybody push my buttons. Push my like button. Thank you. It does help the algorithm here for my channel and for this video to reach more people looking for information and VO goofballs. This is where we live. Robert says you lost Eric. Did you push his button?
It
No,
wasn't
I
my
didn't
fault.
boot him out. He
It
just
wasn't my
disappeared.
fault.
We'll just say that it was his
Yeah.
fault.
Right.
Wolf. Oh, Wolf says
Nice.
yes, your name. That is
Nice.
awesome.
Thank you, Mom
That
and
is
Dad.
so cool. What a cool name. Chantal says, cool. Then I answered yes to having previous acting experience appropriately because I play D&D for audiences on multiple live play games online.
Cool.
Please
Very
share
cool.
that info. My son is in love with D&D. We play D&D in this house, and he would probably love to watch. So please share that information, Chantal. I would appreciate that. Robert Palmore says, could that be taken more than one way? Got to put some WD. Stop it, Robert. Good God. Adventures after 50. Good morning. Not to acting, but years of entertaining clients and direct care. Tutoring and customer service using different voices for role playing and teaching.
That
I would
counts.
say that counts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see.
Moving on.
Moving on. Hang on. Where am I? Okay, here we go. In regards to Valerian, that was me. That I thought so. I wanted to say I thought that was you that had mentioned Valerian, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't want to say it. But you know what we're gonna do really, really quick. I know we have to wrap up here soon, but I just want to check the poll one last time. Let's say. So
The
today's
ratio's
poll
about the
again
same.
did you have any acting experience before you got into VO? And looks like we are at 54 votes, and 74% of you said no. 26% of you said yes. It's very interesting.
Ratios stay the same throughout. Interesting. Yeah.
Just about. Yeah. All right. Okay, so then we are not, weirdos. Well, we are weirdos, but
I thought we addressed that.
okay. Robert says, from a personal nebulizer, my brother puts hydrogen peroxide in his to help with infections and the like. Oh, interesting. I didn't know you could do that. Chantel says, you were just talking about listening to your audiobooks ever again. When I am editing mine, I find that I make mistakes on reading things. Are you at a point where first read through is on point? Not necessarily, but I think I've learned to be cognizant of what comes out of my mouth versus what is on the page. I've gotten to a very, very low ratio through a lot of practice of saying to instead of the, simple mistakes like that, he instead of she, stuff like that. But I've gotten to the point where I'm very cognizant of what comes out of my mouth and if it matches what is supposed to be on the page. So I've gotten really good with that, but that took, again, a lot of practice and time. But I would definitely say that I'm not perfect. Sometimes the mistakes that I make are just so insignificant. If it's like I said, a to versus a the or something like that, that doesn't really change the story. The rights holder can either say, hey, I need you to change this, or I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. But what I typically do instead of punch and roll, I use the clicker method. And I know Eric does too, but when I'm narrating and I know I make a mistake, instead of just doing one take, I'll typically do more than one. And then when I edit through later and remove the mistakes, I have multiple takes to choose from. And then I find that sometimes in those takes, I'll say to instead of the or whatever it is. So then I have a little bit of a variety of options to choose from in fixing that sentence so it's right. So like in take one, I said to, and it's supposed to be to instead of the. I can use that. And then, another piece of another take to complete the sentence. So that's another reason why I use the clicker method and not punch and roll. Because you never know. Did I just totally go off on a tangent, or am I making sense?
A little bit.
Is that tangent number 2, 3, 10?
100.
I don't know. 100. Do I do that? Do I go off on that many tangents?
No, you really don't.
Okay.
Because you usually have me here to bring you. No, I'm just kidding. To bring you back. Steer left.
Angela, put your blinders on. Robert, carry on, soldier. Okay, these two are talking. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, Chantel also says, do you always read through the project before you read it? Yes. If it's an audiobook, I'll try to read through it first. It depends on really what it is. If it's an audiobook that's got a lot of characters, plot, stuff like that, I'll at least try to skim through it. It also depends on how much time I have to get through it. But yes, if it's a commercial, meditation, e-learning, anything like that, I'll definitely read through it first because I want to make sure that you have a really good understanding of what it is. Like, who are you and why are you saying this? And who are you talking to are the elements that you really need to understand to deliver the intention of that copy or manuscript for sure. What do you think, Eric? Do you always read through yours first?
Projects that aren't audiobooks, of course, obviously. I have been fortunate enough so far that I don't necessarily read through my books before I read them, before I record them. And I've been lucky enough that hasn't bit me in the butt yet. I say yet because maybe someday it will, but yeah, it's a time thing. It's time. It takes a long time to read it and then go back and it's a long time. Because again, difference in people. For some people, if this is your full-time gig, then you might have the time to do that. If this is not your full-time gig, if you still have a full-time job and this is a side hustle, maybe you may not have the time to read a 300-page book. Especially then when ACX gives you, when your rights holder gives you a 2-month, window, recording schedule. So I'm supposed to read it, record it, edit it. It can snowball. So there's nothing wrong with reading through it if you have the time. If you have the time, of course, that would be the preferred.
Yeah, for sure. Melina Joy says, good morning from Lancaster, California.
I'm in Santa Clarita. Good morning, Melina Joy.
Another Californian. Masonry Construction says, Louie, when you co-host with Angela, be sure to still do a super chat. You don't have to do super chats. So funny. But then Louie says, no doubt. You guys, stop. Robert Palmer says, I went to, is it Keesler? Air Force Base for tech school. Used to watch the FAC run around carrying a telephone pole. Serious?
Yeah. When I was at tech school for that, so the computer operator job that I was in went to Keesler. This was 1991 for tech school. Forward air controller was actually Fort Walton Beach, Florida, Herbert Field. And then, I think they did move. So I've been to both those places. Keesler is in Biloxi, Mississippi. Beautiful Biloxi, Mississippi.
Twisted 681 says, if one wanted to get into meditation VO, where do you suggest to get started? Most of my meditation work comes from Fiverr, to be honest. And now that I have a meditation playlist on my channel, I do once in a while have someone reach out to me directly for meditations, affirmations, that sort of thing. So, but just like anything else with voiceover, you have to let people know that you're there and that you do offer meditation services. So you really need to get into social media and sharing that kind of work so people can hear it and go, oh, I need that, right? Or to have a profile on a freelance website. I think of even starting to see meditation stuff on voices.com, Voice123. So I think it's really becoming available just about everywhere as far as voiceover sites go for meditation.
Yeah. I don't know that there's any one place to get started. It's I think a shotgun effect.
But if you wanted to specifically do meditation, I would have some sort of a social media presence telling everybody that you do meditation, specializing in meditation,
Got it.
Robert says, a friend, Jeff Long, named his son Richard. Thanks, Dad. Chantel Davey says, how old is your son? My games are 18 plus. Oh, he's 14. Thanks for the heads up. Appreciate you. James Park says, regarding cartoon voices, there's a great documentary called I Know That Voice. Yep. all about the voiceover industry. I've seen it.
Seems
It's
familiar.
on Prime, Amazon Prime, I
Okay.
believe.
Okay.
I've watched it. It's very interesting.
Is that the one that has the guy who does the voice of Bender on like Futurama? I think I've seen.
I
I've seen
I don't
the
remember.
title sounds familiar.
The thumbnail for the movie is just a big mouth. I think I know that voice.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I think I want to say it's Amazon Prime it's on. But it was pretty interesting. There's a
Yeah.
lot of interesting stuff on YouTube too.
Yeah.
Ashley Brooks says, "Thanks, guys. Great advice today. Thank you for being here, Ashley." Robert says, "Thank you, Angela, for giving so much information and so much of your time. Thank you for being here also. I appreciate that." Tech Voice for the Lake says, "Hello. New to ACX and received communication offering the mail part to a controversial book with another ACX VO artist. Is this common? My scam hackles are tingling. Just received email." What do you mean by controversial? Is it a spicy book? The only things that I would definitely look into with this, if your spidey senses are tingling, I would make sure that this is a legit author, first and foremost, that the rights belong to this person, that this person is who they say they are. I don't think it's strange to have someone reach out to you for a dual narration, because I think those are becoming much more popular these days, a duet or a dual narration. But I don't think there's a way to do royalty share, though, just to keep that in mind, to do that book as a royalty share with two different narrators. I don't know if there's a way to split up the royalty share that way. So I would only approach those with a per finished hour rate. So you make sure that you collect your money, because with ACX, I think it's just split between the narrator and the author, not two narrators and the author, right? So I would just make sure that I get paid that way. But I wouldn't necessarily say that it's a scam per se, but I would definitely do your due diligence and make sure that it is a legitimate author with legitimate rights to that legitimate book.
I wonder if either of us have any experience with that.
Voiceover Van Deen is here. No, you were late, but the frog was not. That is all your fault. Oh, well, something to watch later on replay when cooking tea. Hope you had fun and no frog. Nope, frog was here way before you. Louis says, welcome to the stream anyhow, Voiceover Van Deen. Absolutely. You can take the frog home now. Tim Field says, "Hi, Angela. First time watching live. I love your videos and they're very helpful. I'm just learning how to do audiobook narrations." Well, congratulations. Welcome to the audiobook narrator family. Glad to have you. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Robert Palmer says, "Yes, Amazon Prime has I Know That Voice." Okay. Whew. I actually remembered something. It's awesome. Good job, Angela.
We're going to have to look it up again now.
Yeah. Kara says, "Thank you for all your info. Whenever I watch your videos, I get more excited about getting into VO work." Good.
Cool.
I'm glad that I could, in this case, Eric and I can help, spark a little inspiration for you. So I'm glad. Thank you for watching my videos. I'm glad you find them helpful. And then Wolf says, "Thanks as always. I always pull some sort of really good info from these live streams, and it encourages me to continue to try to make this a career." Good.
Awesome.
Love it. Love it, love it. And then Chantel, I think we'll end on Chantel's question. Any tips for spotting fake ACX postings? One thing you could do is sign up for audiobookscout.com. That is a site that will email you listings for books that you can narrate. Am I making sense here? So you could set filters for specific kind of books, like per finished hour or royalty share, certain lengths of books, whatever you decide that you want to look for in ACX, and it'll email you suggestions as they become available. Like, this book is available, you can go and audition for it now. But at the same time, it'll also tell you if something's not jiving. Like if the word count of the book is not jiving, some information is not jiving with the copyright holder. So with Audiobook Scout, you not only get notified when a book that you would like to narrate becomes available to narrate, But at the same time, you also get those alerts that say, hey, there's something fishy here. You might want to do a little extra digging. But I say, regardless of even if you use something like Audiobook Scout, whatever you decide that you're going to audition for, check out that title on Amazon. Check out the author page that should be attached to it, right? Every author on Amazon has an author page more often than not, right?
Mhm.
Look at the book on there. Is the name on the book the same as the person who's reaching out to you? And if it's not, are they the publisher? What do they own the copyrights to this book? Just do a little bit of Scooby-Doo and see if it just looks legit to you. You can even reach out to the author and ask them to verify. Google
Yeah.
them and find
Yep.
an email address. I know somebody who was in our platinum group that did just this. They reached out to the rights holder of a book to say, hey, do you have your book listed on ACX? And they said, no, that's not me. So they both reported this person and got the fake listing taken down. But then the author contacts her again and says, hey, I'm so glad that you helped me out with that. I was thinking about making my book into an audiobook anyway. Would you mind recording it for me? So it turned out to be a great thing, right? We got this scammer off of ACX, and an author made a connection with a narrator, and they are making an audiobook. So when in doubt, reach out, right?
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. But if it's walking like a duck and it's talking like a duck, it's more than likely a duck. So just look into it a little bit and make sure that everything jives. That's
Save
usually the
yourself the
best way.
time and trouble.
Yeah. Some of us know all about that, all too well.
A little too much.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I think that is going to do it for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us. I want to thank Eric for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate you spending a little bit of time here with me today. And if you would like to join us on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern and everybody else in our group for a little bit of feedback on a read, for a demo, have a little fun, bring a drink. Our meetings are very casual. We have a lot of fun, but we get a lot of work done at the same time. So if you'd like to join our Platinum group, we'd love to have you. But other than that, Eric, do you have any closing thoughts? Or if you
I
have an
Mhm.
idea, Eric. So
Oh,
if anybody watching this would like to hire you as a voice actor or an audiobook narrator, how would they get in contact with you?
I have a Facebook page, Enterprise VO on Facebook. I have a website, www.enterprisevoiceover.com. I even have an Instagram page, Enterprise VO also. So any one of those three ways, you can find me, and I would be happy to help. And Angela, I want to say thank you for having me on. I would love to come back again at some point if you show desire, but this was a blast.
Awesome. Fabulous. There may be an opportunity for us to continue on in the future with you and I.
Say the date and time.
All
My
right,
schedule
cool.
is so full.
All
That's
right.
for everybody. That just I'm retired, so I have copious amounts of free time. That's what that meant. Not like I
Copious.
don't have any voiceover work to do. No, I have time.
He is a man of leisure. Or something. I don't know. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm being silly. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I will see you all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you later, everybody.
Bye.